Hey everybody, welcome back to the Couch Warrior podcast. Today we're going to do a recap video for UFC 309, and I'm going to tell you guys how I felt about the card, some quick reactions, and then we'll get out of here. So I'll start from the bottom and we'll go up to the top. I'll be quick with the earlier fights because they weren't as good, and we all care a little bit more about the main card. So in the Eduardo Mora-Veronica Hardy fight, I did bet Mora. That was nice. Mora looked great. This weight class for her, definitely better. I like her better at flyweight. I think it was a good move up for her, and I hope she stays there. I think she will, and I expect good things from her. Very good grappling. She looked great in that fight. After that, Oben Elliott absolutely cooked Basil Hafez. Hafez had his moments and somehow was winning on one judge's scorecard going into the third, but he got finished and the rightful person won. Good stuff from Elliott, undefeated in the UFC so far. Going to be interesting to see where he goes from here. Ramiz Brahimaj, Mickey Gall, that was unexpected. I did think that Ramiz was live. I did end up betting him as an underdog at plus 150, but I did not think he was going to knock out Mickey Gall. That was crazy. They brought back the old gloves and knockouts came back. So maybe they did make a difference. And it was a good win from Ramiz. It'll be interesting to see what happens in his next fight, if he's able to kind of build on this and improve his record a bit in the UFC. After that, Marcin Tybura and Jonathan Deniz. Tybura came out there, used his grappling, did pretty much what I expected him to do. I did have a bet on him there as well. He really beat up on Deniz on the ground, looked great. And, you know, Deniz just definitely still has a future at heavyweight, but he's got to work on that takedown defense and that ground game a bit. After that, Onama, Roberto Romero had a small shot on the underdog on Romero. And honestly, I don't hate the play. He did as good as he could. He put out an honest effort. Onama, as usual, a little bit sloppy, made some mistakes, but he pulled off the win. Probably going to get a tougher step up in his next fight, but I'm pretty high on Onama. I think he'll continue to do well. After that, Jim Miller got his guillotine in the first round. That was nice. Definitely a feel-good moment. Love Jim Miller. We all love him. Great to see him win again, and he did it pretty quickly as another big underdog. I didn't bet him here, kind of passed, but that was a good performance from Jim. After that, Marcus McGee beat Jonathan Martinez. That was a really good win for McGee. Biggest step up in his career by far, and he passed the test. In my opinion, he looked great. It was a great performance, and he's definitely a prospect to look out for. He's not the youngest guy, but he's doing real well-rounded, improving fight to fight, and I think we're going to see him start to really get pushed for a title shot real soon. I think a couple more fights, a couple more big wins, and we might see him in the title picture. After that, we had Mauricio Rufy versus James Lontop. That was a good fight. I expected Lontop to survive. I didn't think he was going to get knocked out. He came close to being finished, but he was able to survive. Really tough guy. Had his moments, and he made it a close fight. And if not for him getting hurt, he could have ended up winning that fight. So that was a good fight, but Rufy's definitely got to work on some stuff before he's a top contender. After that, we had Viviane Araujo, Karine Silva. I did bet Araujo. That felt good to cash that. It was a close fight. I can understand people who felt that Silva won, but at the end of the day, she was huge chalk, and I didn't think it was warranted. I don't think she's ready for the top of the division just yet. She's got to work on her cardio. She's got to work on her striking a bit more, and then I think we can start talking about her maybe taking on higher-ranked competition. After that, Bo Nickal, Paul Craig, that was not fun. I really expected more from Bo Nickal. He fought like I expected him to keep it on the feet, and I expected him to strike, and he did exactly that. But I thought he'd be explosive in and out. I thought his output would be much better. I think he landed like 25 significant strikes, something like that, against Paul Craig, who's not a striker in any way. He's a grappler. And I think Bo's really smart for not giving Craig what he wanted and not bringing it to the ground. But, like, at least put something more into the striking. I didn't like that performance at all. And then his take on the fight afterwards, where he just like thinks he did amazing and dominated. Not a good look. I expected more out of him. I think he's got some work to do. He's an elite guy, elite grappler, but he's got some stuff to work on, especially the striking. After that, we had Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. Honestly, I love that fight. It was a lot of fun. I did not expect it to go the distance. I don't think anybody did. I think fight doesn't go was like minus 900 in that fight, and they went to the decision. Chandler showed to be really tough there, but at the end of the day, Oliveira showed out. I thought he looked great. Offensive wrestling looked really solid. Not really something Oliveira did a lot in his career, and he came out and he grappled proactively. He looked great doing it. He almost got finished in the 5th round. That was a crazy, crazy round. Chandler almost pulled it off. landed like 15 or more shots on the back of the head. I do not know what the ref was doing. He was kind of just looking at it. I thought he was going to call the fight, so I was like, this is crazy. And then the 2 slams were pretty iconic of Chandler. I think he understood full well that he lost the fight, but he still showed out. The dude's got a lot of heart. And I know he's got a pretty significant losing record in the UFC, but he's been fighting the top of the crop. And I think definitely don't cut him. Let him just keep having exciting fights. He's a really exciting fighter. And Oliveira, I think they're going to try to set him up for a title shot probably after Arman and Islam fight. Or if that fight gets delayed for some reason, maybe they'll do an Oliveira Arman rematch for the interim. We'll see. And then we have the main event, John Jones, Stipe Miocic. John Jones, I'll give him credit where credit's due. He looked fantastic. He looked very good in my opinion. Definitely didn't look as slow and plotty as he did in the Cyril Gane fight. Looked a lot better in the striking. Looked a lot more like himself. The grappling was on point. Had a really nice trip takedown in that first round. That was real smooth. And I'm more excited than ever for him to fight Aspinall. I do think that fight's going to happen. I don't think that John's going to avoid it. I think he's going to take the fight, and I think we're going to get to see it. And I'm really looking forward to that fight. So, yeah, that's UFC 309 done. And it was a great card, but looking forward to UFC 310 a bit more. I think that one's going to be a fun card too. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out, and I'll see you later.